Hi, everybody. Welcome. I was trying to figure out some kind of fun way to have you guys look at something other than me while I'm trying to get us started, but that'll have to wait for next week. Um, we're getting there. So, thank you guys so much for joining us. I am really excited to. I apparently cannot add people at the same time. But I'm really excited to come to you again. It's Wednesday, which is fantastic. It's really great to see you guys all for Ask Evelyn this week. Let's see. Hi, Pat.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I'm trying to position myself so my head's not cut off, but
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
I'm here every
Um,
week.
maybe I'll just scoot back. That'll work.
There you go.
Uh, but welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Ask Evelyn, where we answer your questions about garbage, recycling, compost, and other trashy topics. I'm Becca Fong. I'm the solid waste outreach planner and coordinator for residential recycling, and I'm joined by.
Hey, everyone. How you doing? I'm Pat Kaufman. I'm the commercial recycling and composting program manager for Seattle Public Utilities. We help businesses recycle and compost all their stuff. So yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. It's really great to see a whole bunch of you joining us just as we get started. So a quick reminder that this show is run on your awesome questions. So if you have questions, send them to us. You can put them in the comments during the show and we will try to get to them. If we don't, we will definitely get back to you. You can also send them through our various social media feeds. Obviously, we're on Instagram, also on Facebook and Twitter would be fantastic. Or the old school way, which is through sending us an email at askevelyn@seattle.gov. So running down the show really quick. Every week we answer questions that come in from you guys, and then we give you an update on last week's weekly waste challenge and then present the next week's weekly waste challenge. So we'll get started with the first question from this week, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Pat.
All right. Question one. Question one this week. It's going to be a good chat about this. Comes from Anton. Hi, Evelyn. I just learned that Tetra Paks are recyclable. I'm amazed, he says. Would love to have an idea of how you guys handle that. The different materials seem to be combined so integrally in them. Maybe on a future episode, unless it's something you already covered in the past, had to look, but not sure. Didn't look at all of them. Best wishes, Anton. So anyway, Anton's question is about milk cartons, Tetra Paks, gable top. I mean, these are basically those cartons and materials that are paperboard material. And yeah, you said you were gonna. That's right. You have a little sample for us to see. That's the Tetra Pak logo on the bottom of the container that Becca's holding. There you go. That's a little better, even though it's flipped.
Backwards, but at least it's right side up.
That's right. So these are paperboard, right? A lot of fiber, a lot of good paper fiber in this board. It's not just a thin piece of paper. It's a thick board of paper. Becca's holding one of the shelf-stable versions of these containers. These are aseptic containers, another way of saying it because they're shelf-stable. Within the layering of the fiber and the poly, the plastic, they actually sometimes put in this layer of metal, of aluminum foil. All of these things definitely are not what the recycling companies are crazy about, but because there's so much good paper fiber in this board, and it's all, in the industry because it's food grade paperboard, it's virgin paperboard,
Right.
It's long fibered, really good bleached white fiber. So it has a lot of good attributes from a recycling mill perspective. As a feedstock. So they'll deal with that poly coating and they'll deal with that aluminum layer in there and they'll deal with that plastic spout just to get to the good fiber. Locally in Seattle, the paperboard that is recycled within the Seattle program, and that's milk cartons. There's the layering there that Becca's talking about. This is a milk carton. This is frozen food boxes, ice cream cartons. A lot of people don't realize, it's the same thing as a milk carton, right? And it was more of like this question of many years ago, we didn't accept a lot of these different various materials, but we were accepting milk cartons. And it's like, well, what's the diff? It's all paperboard, it's thick. And so we started to say yes to a broader kind of category of poly-coated paperboard. And this is all good fiber. It does present challenges, when the material gets to the mill. Basically, it's a pulping machine. It's a machine that just takes it all and blends it all
up.
They got all these like metal screens and mechanical means of sorting out the contaminants in that paper fiber kind of recycle feedstock. So they're trying to let just the paper fiber go through and not the plastic or the metal or the plastic spout, all the other.
So it'll pull this stuff off, right? Like
Right,
it shreds it all up. It sorts these things out.
exactly.
Okay.
They have, so they have machines that do that. Some mills are set up differently, and I just wanted to touch on one kind of like specific question that might come up, and that is like how do mills handle that material? Well, like any kind of technology, different mills are going to have different levels of assessment to manage their input of product. So some mills are going to be better at getting more fiber out of that box. Other mills are going to lose a lot of the fiber during the screening process to get the contaminants out. But essentially, the material will be recycled via the curbside program in Seattle.
All right. So Anton, I hope that helped. They are just kind of a cool, amazing, interesting product, right? And I think a lot of you savvy recyclers, like I bet that's why Anton was like mind blown. And please do an episode for us, is that we have, talked a lot about when it's made out of multiple materials that can present a problem. But again, like you said, so eloquently, it's like, it's the virgin paper. There's really thick fiber. When you hold it, you can tell it's really thick. And that's what they're after. So we're going to put a couple of links on our Pinterest page, and then also probably in the show notes for you to look at not only what Tetra Pak is and how it's made from the actual company. It's a company that makes this business.
Right.
And then also a little bit about the process. The one that you talked about, Pat, I also learned doing a little research for this episode that they also will take the whole thing and compress the whole pack down and make kind of like a compressed panel board, or also like plastic kind of roofing tiles. So, it's interesting, but like everything, it depends on how it's sorted, the market and the commodity. But for all of you guys out there, the most important thing is like, yes, it's accepted. Make sure it's empty, clean, and dry. And
that's right.
That's really the
three
best work
things
you can do.
Yeah. And don't worry about the spout. The spout is managed, caps off. So that's another thing about caps.
Yeah.
When we say caps on, we're talking about a plastic cap on a plastic bottle, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different container than the cap, meaning this is a paper container. So you would not leave the cap on. That's just going to add more complexity and challenge to the paper recycling effort.
Right. They're not after this, and they're going to remove this piece anyway. So if you can take this part off, that's great. You don't have to get crazy and take the spout out unless you really, really want to. We're not going to stop you, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Anton. Thank you for watching, and thank you for sending us your question. That is awesome. And we love having new ideas and just hearing what you guys are interested in learning more about. So check out the videos, and empty, clean, and dry. Paper goes in.
I want to say one more thing about it, as a product.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pluses and minuses to this kind of a substrate, this kind of package for vegetable broth or chicken broth or whatever. Like we use it, and we'll just splash it into a dish every now and then, when you're cooking something. But it's great to be able to reseal it and put it back in the fridge. It's really handy compared to the old cans of broth where you wouldn't want to leave it in the can in the fridge because you worry about that. So you did transfer that to another container or something. So in a food waste prevention space, it's not a bad thing to use this kind of container. So, and they're lighter than metal too. So there's pluses on the transportation side. It's paper's a renewable product, renewable material. So there's definitely pluses around it, but it does present challenges.
Definitely. And I just saw, Anton, you joined us. Thank you again for watching us and giving us the great idea. I hope that was helpful. All right. Question 2.
Right.
This is a great one. I know that I talked about this a little bit in previous shows. It's just like in the time of COVID, we need more moments to celebrate things and make things a little bit special. I mean, it's really hard to define when we're all apart and we're not traveling a lot of places. How do you make things special? And one thing that we do at my house is we put birthday candles in things, right? Because who doesn't love a celebration? But I mean, let me tell you, we've had
yeah, I know. I mean, birthday candles
waffles.
can be challenging because it's a candle and it's what is it made of? So Becca, tell us again about these candles.
Absolutely. So these are just your standard birthday candles, and so the question is, dear Evelyn, are birthday candles compostable? And this is a question that comes to us from Grace. So it's a really good question because you know, we talk a lot about what goes into your food and yard waste cart, and we talk about it as things that are associated with food. So obviously food waste, food scraps, leftovers. We take food soiled paper and compostable food packaging because of the food. So candles, those are on top of food. What do we do with those? These actually will go in the garbage. And the reason is they are made out of a paraffin wax, which is really not, and you know, that's not a valuable thing for the compost. It's not something that they want. And we've talked about this before in Where Does It Go Wednesdays about like the wrapper that comes around cheese. That's not something they want. It's not food. It's not food packaging. You can easily take it off. They do have to go in the trash. Even the wicks are made out of cotton and they're dipped in paraffin as well, but those just all go in the garbage. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's just not a desirable commodity.
Right. There's a lot of, you know, cake decorations and little plastic pieces. Like you go to the supermarket and order a birthday cake or something, it'll come with these little race cars and things. So just kind of put it in that category. Reuse them. You know, I'm as a birthday, you know, boy on my birthday, I don't care if the candles have been burned before or not. They don't have to be brand new. So, you know, you can get a lot of birthdays out of one candle if you work it.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can tell I have these and they've already been used. We're going to use them again for sure because there's plenty more party in this business.
Absolutely. So, you got at least a couple more parties out of those. That can
right? Absolutely. Breakfast tomorrow is going to be spectacular.
Especially when you get to my age. It's like when you need 50 plus candles. I mean, that's a lot of, you know, use a few. You know.
It's true. One thing that was kind of cool to think about too, as I was researching this, because I was thinking, you know, it is on food. Like, I wonder if there are alternatives. And I did find that there are some edible candles. They are made out of chocolate that is tempered with some other materials that make them last a little longer. It says that they last for about 2 rounds of happy birthday. So those can be found out there. But the simpler solution is just get as much birthday as you can and celebration out of these babies. And when you're done with them, go ahead and put them in the trash.
Yep.
So yeah, it's really, I think it's really important to think about your food in your yard waste cart if it has to do with food and if it has to do with yard waste. Those are the things that we accept.
Yeah, yeah. And just in candles in general, like, you know, we're talking about birthday candles today, but there's all the other types of candles that people have, you know, from different, you know, votives or types. All that stuff. Once you're done with them, if there's not a reusable option for them, then they are garbage.
Absolutely.
Candles do not recycle. They don't go in the compost.
Right. That's a really good point. There are definitely a lot of different types of candles out there. All right, folks, now we're to the part of our show where we talk about our weekly waste challenge. So every week we pick a new tip or a trick to try out and report back on how we do, because it's hard to change behaviors, right? But we're all in it. Even Pat and I, who do this a lot, and we do this for a living, it's always good to try new stuff and to see what works. And sometimes, you know, learning new stuff takes a little bit of practice. Doesn't always go great, but we're hoping that you guys join us in our weekly waste challenges as well and let us know how they go. So last week we had, because it's Plastic Free July, right, Pat?
That's right.
And so Plastic Free July, I think in general, we're looking at how to reduce the amount of plastic in our lives. But you brought up a really good point about one thing we should really emphasize.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of plastic in our lives, a lot of good plastic that we use for important functions and needs and what. But really what the focus can be and should be, I think, is single-use plastic, the one and done throwaway plastic. That's what the main focus, I think, of Plastic Free July. That's the top tier category to concern yourself with. If there are other plastic substitutions you want to make in your life, that's fine too, for other products that are made more durable or come from a renewable resource. But the idea of these single-use plastics, that's really like, you know, #1 priority.
Absolutely. And I think that that's a really good first step, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's how you can kind of walk into removing more plastic from your life, is figuring out how do you eliminate more of that single-use stuff, or even reusing some of that stuff that maybe had been traditionally thought of as single-use, right? And you can use it again.
Oh, so, yeah. These like tubs, you know, you buy various salads or product, they're great. I mean, we're using the same, we dump our cat food into a plastic tub. It's a yogurt tub. I don't even know if the yogurt company's still in business anymore. It's years old, but you know, it's the little tub we use for cat food. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So our challenge for last week was to find reuse or best options for non-plastic food storage. So I brought a couple of things. I know you have a couple of things that you wanted to share. And I know that I've talked about this on one of our earlier episodes in Ask Evelyn, but it's such a great thing. And I used it last night that I wanted to talk about using jars. This is leftovers from last night, and I make sure to use a wide mouth jar because then you can actually scoop the food out, which is really nice. I like that it's clear because you can see it. Right. And that really helps. Our refrigerator is, my kids refer to it as refrigerator Jenga because you're always like trying to get different things in there. Our challenge when we had the eat first area was tough for my family, but we got better. So having something clear was really good. And with using canning jars, the one tool that I really like because I do canning is this wide funnel, which is great. So you can just put it on the top. It fits kind of the narrower canning jars as well. And you just pour it in the top and it makes it, really clean to get it in there. Because I've definitely heard that from folks who are like, I want to use jars, but the opening's narrow. How do I get it out?
Right.
So that's one thing that we do a lot at our house, which has been really, really great. And it doesn't take up as much space footprint wise in my refrigerator shelf.
Yeah.
So did you have something you wanted to share?
Well, I've got, last night, I can't believe my son didn't finish. There were 5 tater tots left. I looked in the fridge, here they are. So, I would have just finished off personally.
I would have powered through them too.
When he's done, he's done. He's just that kind of eater, which hats off to him. I'm not that good yet.
Me neither. There would not be 5 tater tots in my house.
It's like, why? I mean, he could have grabbed a Ziploc baggie. Didn't do that. I mean, so, pretty good here. A little jar of tater tots, which I'll probably have after the show. So,
one other thing I wanted to bring, because it was along the lines of what you have really emphasized, which is eliminating single-use plastics, right? So this is kind of a snack container. It's my kids' homemade trail mix. And this is a plastic ice cream container with a screw lid. And so what's nice about these is that, I was kind of talking to you about this. You're like, well, it's not really single use, but it's food packaging. And we've had these for a really long time. We just hand wash them. You can reuse them. They're clear, which is really nice. You can see what's in them. Yeah. And kind of like your example of the yogurt tub for your cat food is that, we'll use this a long time. And we didn't have to buy a Ziploc bag. We didn't have to buy something disposable. I didn't have to buy a small bag of snacks. My kids kind of made their own trail mix, which was fantastic. And then they get whatever they want in there. So it's kind of a nice little tip.
I think that's great. I have another jar, like some pasta, some dry pasta. It's a peanut butter product jar. Good little, reuse item there. So
totally. So, I will fess up, everybody who's watching, this was maybe not a new tip or trick for Pat or I, but always a good one to rethink about, and think about like what's a good place to start. And it's always good to just share everybody's little tips. So
I agree.
Yeah. So for next week, still going with the Plastic Free July theme, we're going to look at less plastic in home and health products. So we've talked about this a little bit in previous shows, soaps, shampoos, toothpaste. There are some kind of easy, quick steps. I have to say I am not as well versed in this, so I will definitely be trying something new next week to see if I can eliminate some plastic packaging. So we'll report back on that. So, and if you guys have ideas, send them our way as well.
I'll do the same. I'll check in with some folks because this is another area where, we want to provide information to a variety of consumers and folks out there. And if it doesn't fit our personal things, we'll still seek out the information and bring it to the show.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm always learning something with these different waste challenges of like, what else is out there? What are people doing? What are things you just haven't thought of? And that's the whole reason that we come to you guys every week to kind of share that information. And again, always a plug. Share your thoughts too with us. All right, folks, that is another episode of Ask Evelyn. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember to send us your questions. Anton, big thumbs up, man. Thank you so much for writing to us, watching the show, and then tuning in today. So we hope that all of you that are watching will definitely send us some questions in the future or some ideas. So in that vein, tell one person about us. We want to tell as many people about this great stuff as possible. So with that, we'll see you next Wednesday at 11:30 for more trash talk. And we hope that you find that this is useful advice from your utility. And with that, I'm Becca Fong. Remember, life's simpler with less stuff.
That's great. And I'm Pat Kaufman. Remember to recycle right. We'll see you later.
All right. Take care. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye. See ya.
Bye-bye.